Hello there, friends. It is Jimmie Maverick. It is Tuesday, the 20th of August. I can't believe it's already the 20th of August. Football season starts in just a couple weeks. I'm very excited about that. And we are going to do a mock draft tonight on ESPN. We're going to do a 12-team PPR mock, picking from the 8th position. We're going to see what kind of team we can build. And we are going to use my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick players. So I'd like to invite you to please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. That's where you'll find the app. You can get the app right here. It's only $9.95 for a one-year subscription. You can use it on an unlimited number of leagues that you are in. And I think by watching this video, you'll see that it works very well in helping you build the absolute best team possible and finding the right players at each and every point in your draft. So let me show you how it works. Now, there's a quick setup when you go in initially that allows you to set up your customized draft list in just a few minutes. So we're going to do that. So I'm just going to refresh this screen. And so it asks you 3 questions. How does your league score points? In this case, it's a PPR. We have these pre-made point schedules. And then also, when you get into the app, you can click on the league point schedule button and set up a custom point league as well if you want. But let's go ahead and do 1 point for PPR. Do you want to engage Jimmie's recommended player filters? Now, I have over 30 different filters available to help you sift through your list and remove the highest risk players. But if you don't want to do that, Jimmie's recommended player filters is a great place to start. So we'll just go ahead and we'll say yes on that. And then the player filter button is where you can adjust those filters. Finally, do you want to enter draft mode? Yes. So you just need to put in the size of your league. In this case, it's a 12-team league. We are going to be picking 8th. I believe that is our draft position, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's 8th. So let's go ahead and enter draft mode. So you can see the draft list right here. Here's our position filters. Over here is the league point schedule button and the player filter button. So you can see Jimmie's recommended filters is engaged. So what's it doing? Well, it's removed any player in the top 100 that has a consistency ranking of less than 4 out of 10. It's removed players with an injury issue in the top 75. It's removed players that switch teams in the top 50. It's removed overvalued running backs and overvalued wide receivers in the top 100. And also, if the running back's over age 28 in the top 50 or a wide receiver over age 30 in the top 100, it has removed those players as well. So this that just popped up here, this represents each round of our draft. So all you got to do is just pick a round, go to the first round. We've got recommended players right here. I'm just going to minimize that so you don't have to see all the text. And you can see for the first round pick, it is recommending we go with Travis Kelce, Deandre Hopkins, or Todd Gurley. So we've got some nice choices, nice alternatives. Given that this is PPR, Deandre Hopkins is a great choice. His value rank is 6th, so that means he's just a tiny bit undervalued for where we're at. I basically consider that fair value. There are some players with a little bit better value. Zeke Elliott has a value rank of 4, although I am not drafting Zeke right now because of this holdout issue. And up until this week, I thought this was going to get resolved, but now it's looking less likely. So I'm guessing it's going to go into the regular season. That's definitely going to negatively impact his value rank. Now, it looks like the first pick just started. The first round always goes so slow on ESPN, so we don't have to worry about it. But I do like the idea of maybe going with Hopkins with our first overall pick, and then the next 4 picks, we can go running backs. And that way, one thing I've been noticing in drafts this year is the running backs thin out very quickly. So you want to go early and often on running backs. Todd Gurley is obviously the top ranked running back that we have the most likely chance to get. But I'm not particularly super thrilled with having Todd Gurley as my number 1 choice. I prefer it if I get him in the second round. But okay, yeah, this is going very slowly. So down here, you've got the list, and basically what we're looking at when we let me just sort it by the draft position. You can see we're looking at all the players between pick number 4 and pick number 17, because we're at pick number 8, and our next pick is pick number 17. Actually, I believe this list goes through 18, but number 18 has been filtered off the list because of the recommended player filters. But instead of being sorted by expected draft position, the players are sorted by what I call their VORC score, and this stands for value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. These are the 4 key stats that I look at when I'm making player recommendations, and it's these 4 columns right here. So based on how they score in each of these columns, they get points. Those points are added up. And that's what gets you your Vork score. So at the very top, you have Davante Adams at the very top of the list. And this little gun means he is a long shot. You can see Travis Kelce here with the hands next to his name. That means he is a reach, which means on the next round, he's going to be considered a long shot, basically 50-50 chance or less that he will make it to the next round because he is typically going at around 14, pick number 14, and we are at pick 17. So how is this moving along? Slowly but surely. Oh, it's almost to us. That's great. So let's get these guys queued up. So, Davante Adams, the long shot. And then we've got DeAndre Hopkins, which is the most likely player that we can get. There's Gurley. There's Kelce. So there's kind of the guys that we've been talking about. I would love to be able to steal Davante Adams. And really, between Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins, they are so fractionally close to each other. I love them both. They both play with a really good offense with a great quarterback. So they're both going to be good for your team. I do like the touchdown upside of Davante Adams more. So that's why he is rated ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, but it's just a fractional difference. Like in the app, Davante Adams gets 57 Vork points, DeAndre Hopkins gets 56. I mean, that's about as close as you can get, right? So anyway, and it's been a pretty typical draft so far. The typical guys we got coming off the board here that you would expect. Zeke came off 6th, so that's interesting. He is starting to slide, man. Things are not looking good for Zeke being ready to start the season. Today I heard he went back to Mexico. He was heading back to Dallas, and then they made that quip about him, Jerry Jones, the idiot, and now he's back in Mexico. So good for them. But hopefully Team Case does not take his full allotment of time, but it looks like he probably will. But we got great choices here. And going into the next round, I think we'll be able to get ourselves some really good choices for running backs. We will wait and see what happens here. And Team Case will auto pick. There we go. And now it's our turn. So did take Davante Adams. So DeAndre Hopkins, our number one choice for this round. Let's take him. So that's great. Now in the app, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the second round. And you can see that the app is recommending Mike Evans, George Kittle, James Conner. Again, a nice diverse array of recommendations. I love the idea of getting James Conner in the second round. We'll see if he makes it to us. That would certainly be a very nice coup. He's going 19th right now in PPR. So we have a very good chance to get him, given that we're at pick number 17. We will definitely get all these guys queued up. But if we want to look at other running backs besides James Conner, next on the list would be Joe Mixon, but he's a long shot, so he's probably going to be gone. Dalvin Cook is on after him, and I'm not real thrilled with taking someone like Dalvin Cook as my first running back. But right below him, Kerryon Johnson is a player that I do like. You can see he's got the hands next to his name. That means he's a reach. We could gamble and see if he makes it to the next round. And I'd only take Kerryon if Conner is gone. So let's get some guys queued up. I'm going to pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick, and we'll see who we end up with. All right, so it came right back to us very quickly, and you can see that James Conner is still on the board, so our first choice made it back to us. But so did basically everyone else. Cook, Chubb, I didn't mean to put on there. Evans, Kittle. So we've got great choices here. I'm going to go ahead and take my first choice, though, which is Conner. He certainly offers great value. He's fair value here for where we're picking. Nice 5-star outlook. I love that offense. Steelers are always a class team, very much one of the best in the NFL. And with the AB drama now gone from that team, I expect them to be very good this year. So let's move to the third round now. And in the third round, you can see that the app is recommending Brandon Cooks, Stephon Diggs, and Marlon Mack. So again, we've got a nice diverse array of players here. Kerryon Johnson, as you can see, is a long shot this round because he's typically getting taken at pick 29. We don't go till pick 32, so it's less than a 50-50 shot that Kerryon would make it back to us. But Marlon Mack is a good choice. He's a little bit overvalued, though, and if you look at the value ranks of these players, they're all higher than our draft pick. So that means, I consider them fair value to slightly overvalued, but that's important to look at. And you'll see that once we get later on in the draft, that the value of the running backs plunges after about pick 60. And so that's why I always like to focus on running backs early on in the draft. Marlon Mack's a great choice. Damian Williams, again, not great value. David Montgomery. Now, there's a guy that both these guys are reaches, but David Montgomery also getting tons of buzz right now. He is really moving up the draft board. I might be inclined to take him just because of the upside. And to pair Connor with Montgomery would be excellent. I think that would be an excellent pair of running backs to take in, week out. So let me just get some guys queued up. I will pause the video. We'll come back. We'll see who's available, and we'll see who we end up with. Okay, so it's almost back to us, and it's looking pretty good right now. Look, Kerryon Johnson still on the board. George Kittle still on the board. So these guys are available later than they usually are. These were long shots to make it back to us. But I would definitely be taking Kerryon Johnson if he somehow makes it to pick number 32. Look, T.Y. Hilton's still on the board, man. I'm guessing he's sliding because of the issues with Andrew Luck, but he is a quality number one. Oh, look, he just got taken, right? Because I started talking about him. That's why. But let's go ahead. Let's take Kerryon Johnson with our second running back. So we got Connor and Kerryon. I love that. That's great. It's a short turnaround to the next round. Hopefully one of these other guys will make it back to us. But if they don't, let's look at who it's recommending. So Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods, and David Montgomery. So it is projecting that Montgomery will make it back to us. It is close, though. Montgomery, draft position 42. We're at pick 41. So it will I'd say probably we got about a 60% chance that he'll get to us. But let's go ahead and let's queue up Boyd and Woods. And is there anyone else on this list? Let's see here. James White, I'm not really interested in. Aaron Jones, not really interested in either. So let's go ahead. I will go ahead and just queue up Boyd and Woods then. And even though I'm not taking them, I like to queue them up. Because should they fall to the next round, that's when I would be interested in taking them. I'm not really interested in them in the fourth round, but in the fifth round, they would represent tremendous value. And look at this, Brandon Cooks still on the board. He offers great value. If we look at where Cooks was for wide receivers, he's right at the top of the list, value rank 31. So we are at pick 41. So if he made it to us, then that means we would get basically almost a full round of value out of taking him. That is great. That's how you win your draft, man. You go for the value, you get the value players. But it's looking pretty good here for Montgomery making it to us. Williams is still on the board. So things are going very well right now. I'm pretty happy with how the draft is going. And I want you to notice something. Do you notice that I'm not tracking what individual players are coming off the board? I'm not really concerned with it because my app uses an algorithm to determine the most likely draft position of all the players on the board. Now, of course, every draft is different, and there's always a couple players that get taken way earlier than they should have, and there's always a couple players that get forgotten until way later in the draft. But for the most part, we have a good idea as to when players are going. So it's almost back to us. Montgomery is almost here. So that's what my app does. So when I'm looking at the fifth round, I'm basically looking at all the players that are available between the fifth round and the sixth round. And by the time it gets to the sixth round, basically all those players will be gone. So it really helps narrow your focus down as to who you should be looking at and the pools of players at each round of the draft, finding the best players. So Montgomery made it back to us. What a coup. Our flex position is Montgomery with Connor and Kerryon Johnson. I'm very happy with this team right now. And we just need to stick with running backs for at least one more round. And don't be scared about what's going on with the wide receivers or the tight ends. We got plenty of opportunities to get really good players after the fifth round. But with running backs, that's not the case. The running backs I'm going to be picking after pick 60 are going to be mostly very speculative players that have tremendous upside should things happen. But we're going to focus on the second half of the top 10 picks on filling out the rest of our draft board with all the other positions. But you can see it's recommending Tyler Boyd, Phillip Lindsay, Tevin Coleman. So Lindsay and Coleman, great running backs to get in the fifth round. Both these guys have decent value. Let's see here. Philip Lindsay's value rank is 56, so that's fair value. Coleman's is not as good, value rank of 81. So I find he is a bit overvalued here by like over 2 rounds. So he's not a great choice. But when you look at the other running backs that are available, there's really none on this particular segment. But it's like I said, this is what happens. It just thins out. So if we can get Lindsay, that'd be great. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to queue up Lindsay. Just get him on the queue. And I hope you notice that I'm using the queue a lot, and it's a great way to keep track of the players that you like, so that if they fall to the next round, you know that they're there, and then you can take them. So look, Damian Williams still on the board, Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods, all still on the board from the last round. Now it is a long way to our next pick, but now who else do we have? We got Tyler Boyd. Any other wide receivers that we're interested in? DJ Moore's a long shot, Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley. These guys they're all right, but they're not really knocking my socks off. If I can get one more running back, that will be key. I'll put Tevin Coleman on there just as kind of like my fallback. I always like to have options. I don't want to focus in on just one player, like just only looking at Philip Lindsay for this round. No, that's not the way you win your draft. And if he gets taken, then you're all thrown into a tizzy. What about tight ends this round? Evan Engram is a long shot. OJ Howard is a reach. Certainly if Evan Engram made it, that would be that might be something I'd be interested in. But I think, like I said, we need to go with one more running back, and then we'll be in good shape. So I'm just going to pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick, and we'll see who we end up. All right, so it's almost back to us, and you can see we still got our guys queued up over here. Look at Kenyan Drake sitting here. Now, Kenyan Drake is normally a player I'd be very interested in, especially for PPR, but he is injured right now. So we currently have our filters applied that we have removed all the injured players from the top 75 of the ADP. So he's not appearing on my app. And certainly once he gets healthy again, once I see him as a full participant in practice, that injury designation will be removed. He'll be back on the list. He'll be very highly rated. He's also one that I very much like at this point in the draft, but not when he's not healthy. So it came back to us. Oh, and look at that. Lindsay did get taken. Oh, I got sniped two picks before my pick. Oh, I hate when that happens, but that's all right. We do have our fallback at Tevin Coleman, or we could go Tyler Boyd. Boyd ranks very well hold on, we're in the 5th round, right? Tyler Boyd, value rank 37. So we're getting like nearly 20 points of value by taking someone like Tyler Boyd at this point in the draft. And I certainly like his upside. So let's go ahead and let's take him. And let's move on to the 6th round. Let's see if are there any running backs here that might be worth a pick? Yes, there is. Okay, so Robby Anderson, Jarvis Landry, and Austin Eckler. So with the Gordon holdout, Austin Eckler is absolutely a startable asset and will be as long as Gordon does hold out. And it looks like there's an impasse there. Gordon wants $13 million a year. The team only wants to give him 10. That's a pretty big gap. It has not narrowed at all. So I like the idea of going for Eckler on this next round. Also, Robby Anderson, Jarvis Landry, 2 great wide receivers that offer fantastic value. Again, Robby Anderson, value rank 47, pick number 65, so about 2 rounds of value there. Jarvis Landry, not quite as good, but still still undervalued. Let's look at what other running backs are there. So, Coleman was the long shot. Okay, so Coleman's a long shot to make it to us, and he's a better choice in the 6th round than the 5th. Lamar Miller, Austin Eckler. So Lamar Miller's overvalued, and Austin Eckler's value is overvalued, but that's not, again, he has some standalone value, but with the Gordon holdout, that really boosts his potential value, and that hasn't been incorporated into this number yet. So let's go ahead. Let's get Eckler on there and Anderson and Landry, and I'm going to pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick. All right, so I got sniped again. Austin Eckler just got taken like 2 picks before my pick. So Rah, boo, right? Okay, so, but we still have, look, Coleman's still on the board. We could still take Coleman as our fourth running back. We also have Robbie Anderson, Jarvis Landry, Sterling Shepard. So we could go with the third wide receiver at this point as well. You know, I'm kind of inclined, to go for the value, man. I mean, Robbie Anderson offers top 50 value, and we're sitting here at pick number 65. So that's, that's just a tremendous amount of value at this point in the draft. Coleman is more of a depth play. So let's go for the upside here. Let's go and get Robbie Anderson on this round. And let's jump to the 7th round here. And the app is recommending, okay, Cam Newton, Vance McDonald, Josh Gordon. So we've got some good choices here. We have not taken a tight end or a quarterback yet, so I think those should definitely be in consideration. Especially, I consider McDonald kind of like the last of the tight ends that I actually want. So let's go ahead and I'll get Vance and Cam queued up, and Josh, and we'll come back and we'll see what we end up with. All right, so it's almost back to us, and it looks like Josh Gordon did just get selected, so unfortunately we're missing out on him, but Cam Newton, Vance McDonald still on the board, and Sterling Shepard, who just came off injury, so he is back on my recommendation list. He is a solid choice for a wide receiver. His value rank is 59, so he offers great value. And he's always done very well when OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. has not been in the lineup. And now that OBJ is on a different team, I think that the prospects are very high for Sterling Shepard this next year. So, he's a great choice, but we definitely need to get our tight end after this point. If we look at what tight ends are still on the board, Njoku, Walker, Ebron, Hooper, Reed, these guys, man, just have lots of warts on them, lots of worms that I'm not interested in delving into. So Vance is kind of like the last best hope for the tight end position. And I like the fact that you can get him in the 7th round. Although he has moved up. I used to be able to get him like in the 8th or 9th round. I liked him a lot better then, but he's still a good choice here. So let's go ahead and we'll take Vance. So that's a great choice. Let's jump back to, let's jump to the 8th round then, because that's what we're at. 8th round, what do we got? Larry Fitzgerald, Baker Mayfield, Nyheim Hines. So again, Mayfield's one of my favorite quarterbacks this year. I usually, in 12-team leagues, I like to wait as long as possible to take my quarterback, though, so it's not going to be very often that I get him unless he falls. But Fitz is a great option for wide receiver. Hines, again, this is PPR, so what is his value rank, though? Because Hines, I didn't think, let's see here. It might have filtered him off of the list. You know what? I'm going to remove the recommended filters now because we're late enough that we need to be able to see everybody. So where is Hines? Wow. All right. Hold on here. And he should be right near the top. Oh, there he is. Value rank of 131. So he doesn't score real well. Basically what that means is Hines doesn't have any value unless Marlon Mack gets injured. That's essentially what that means. But look, Larry Fitzgerald, value rank 65. So he's still startable. Other guys in this round, Dante Pettis, who's a long shot. Not real super interested in him. Oh, it's back to us already. Wow. Hey, look at that. Whoa, Cam Newton did fall to this round. Oh, wow. That is very tempting. Who else is available on the board? I'm not really blown away by anybody here. Fitz is kind of like the only guy that I'm really interested in. Where's Fitz? Where are you? Oh, there he is. Oh, and there's Curtis Samuel. I like Curtis Samuel too. Oof, that is tough. You know what? I'm going to continue to build depth. We're still going to be able to get a great quarterback later. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go for the upside here. I love Fitz, right? But Curtis Samuel, I just got to see what he's going to do this year. So I'm getting him on my team. He has been getting unbelievable reviews, voted team MVP for training camp. I mean, they're saying he's going to make a huge year 3 jump in his production. And I love the offense anyway. So we went with that. So If we jump to the 9th round here, so here's who it's recommending. Larry Fitzgerald, Austin Hooper, the tight end, which we don't need. We already got our tight end. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the wide receiver. That's also a great high upside choice. Let's look at the running backs, though. Oh, just Peyton Barber. Really, is that it? Man, it's just not a lot of options here at this point. What about quarterbacks? What quarterbacks are here? Dak Prescott, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. Not really any guys that I'm interested in. I'm not really interested in Peyton Barber either. I don't think he offers any value. See his value rank 143. Just not startable. He's just going to sit on your bench until you dump him midway through the season. But the wide receivers, it looks like we're probably going to have to go wide receiver on this round. So Fitz, hopefully he makes it back to us. Otherwise, I'll take MVS. MVS also has top 100 value, but not nearly as close as Larry Fitzgerald. So let's see here. Is he still on the board? He sure is. I hate when that happens. Okay, there we go. There's Fitz, and there's MVS. Oh, did Fitz just get taken? Oh, no, he's still there. All right, cool. So that's good. Cam Newton still sitting on the board. Now, if Cam Newton makes it back to this next pick, I'm totally going to take him. I just can't pass up on that. But Fitz or Valdes-Scantling, I think, is a great choice for our next pick. Let's just look at the running backs on the board here. A lot of these guys are going to be gone before it comes back to me. Freeman, Penny, Hines, Johnson, McCoy, Barber, Murray. See, all these guys are second fiddles and really don't have any value unless the guy in front of them gets injured. And, not really the kind of players that I want to hold on my bench. I want big upside players, and there are some that are later on that I very much like. And we've got a nice core of running backs right now with James Conner, Kerryon Johnson, and David Montgomery. That is a fantastic core of running backs. But you can see here how there's just not a lot available. There's not a lot of value in the running back position. So go early on your running backs, man. Get as many as you can because it's just it's tough out there this year on the draft board with running backs. So I'm going to just pause the video until we get back to our pick, and we'll see who's there. We'll take our pick then. Right, so it is almost back to us. Cam Newton still on the board. MVS still on the board. Larry Fitzgerald did just get taken. So that is a nice pick for that team. I like that pick for that team, but I wish he would have made it to us. But like I said, man, Cam Newton makes it to us, man. We're going to take him in the 9th round, and that's going to fill out our starting lineup, which is outstanding. I do have Cam Newton. Oh, did he just get taken? Because I was just talking about him. Yep, he did just get taken. He is my number 3 quarterback for value this year. So anyway, didn't happen, but MVS is still on the board. Let's go ahead and take MVS. We knew it was a long shot anyway for Cam Newton, so it just didn't happen. So next round, who do we got? Terrell Williams, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Jared Goff. Now, Jared Goff is sort of like my safety quarterback. If I can't get the one that I want, I typically fall back on Jared Goff, having one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL on a great offense coached by a great coach. He's going to be really good this year. But I think we could even wait one more round to go quarterback because this is the guy I really want. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore quarterback. I don't know if you saw what he did in the preseason yesterday, his 14-yard scamper to a touchdown. Just awesome. And I'm really excited to see what the Baltimore offense looks like this year because they are building it around his skill set. So I think that's what we should plan for the 11th round. Whoops. But for the 10th round, let's look at here. So running backs, we got Breida, Rashad, Deion Lewis, Carlos Hyde, Ronald Jones. Again, not any guys that I'm interested in. Terrell Williams is someone who I do like. Oh boy, it's just so barren out here with these running backs. But after our next pick, after our quarterback, we'll get ourselves some good late round flyers in the running back position. But I do like Terrell. I think Terrell has a ton of upside. It's almost back to us. Terrell Williams, we'll put him on the queue. And, if we wanted to, look, Rashad Penny's still on the board. He has some value if Chris Carson gets hurt, and Chris Carson doesn't have great reliability. Naheem Hines also, again, just doesn't have any value. LaShawn McCoy, not really interested. I don't like to draft any running backs over the age of 28 as a general rule. It's just better that way. The decline that happens from age 28 to 29 is substantial. And, you saw what LaShawn McCoy did last year. It was awful. So he's 1 year past that. So it's going to be just as bad. They're just not as effective anymore, especially in the running game. Okay, so Terrell Williams did make it to us, but, here's the thing. We only have 3 running backs so far, so we could go and take Penny as a depth play. He doesn't offer a ton of value. Let's see here. Where is he? Where is Penny? Because he should have already been gone. Yeah, value rank of 128, but, again, Chris Carson, a low reliability player. So let's go ahead. We'll take Rashad Penny. And 11th round, that is when we're going to get our quarterbacks. So you can see here, look, there's still a ton of quarterbacks on the board. There's Goff, there's Jackson. So let's just go ahead. I'm also going to queue up Phil Rivers just in case those 2 guys are gone by the next pick. I'm just going to pause. We'll come back. We'll see who we end up with for quarterback. Okay, so it's almost back to us. Jared Goff did just get taken. Terrell Williams still on the board. Lamar Jackson, Phil Rivers on our queue. So again, look at all the great quarterbacks that are still on the board here. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins. You do not need to spend an early draft pick on a quarterback. The position is so deep, and in single quarterback leagues, you really only need to take one and just fill up the rest of your roster with running backs and wide receivers. Don't take 2 quarterbacks. There's no strategic advantage to having that because there's always going to be good quarterbacks available on the waiver wire, and there's always going to be good matchups for those quarterbacks on the waiver wire. So don't worry about it. Just go with one. That's really all you need. Seriously, unless it's a super flex league where you want to take more than one, you just don't need more than one quarterback. And the same thing for tight ends too. You only need one tight end. So, and yes, I know that Vance McDonald is an injury risk. Oh, is it back to me? Oh, geez, I didn't even notice. All right, so Lamar Jackson's still on the board. Let's go ahead. We'll take Lamar Jackson as our quarterback. I love that. Let's go to let's see here. We are now in the 11th round. Is that where we're at? Round 11. So let's look at running backs. All right. So as far as wide receivers, we don't really need any more wide receivers. Deion Lewis is the only running back being recommended in this round. I'm going to jump ahead one round and look. Okay, now look at this. Here's Kalen Ballage. So that's a great choice. We get him queued up. Where are all the running backs? There they are, all clustered around pick 14. That is so weird. These are the guys we want to get, right? So let's go ahead and we'll get we'll put Ballage on there. I'm not really thrilled with him though, but let's just go to running backs. Because when you talk about what's going on here in the 14th round, look at all these guys: Singletary, Samuels, Pollard, Alexander Madison, Kareem Hunt. There's a bunch of guys here that I call all the high upside players. And right now, the earliest ranked one is Jaylen Samuels. So let's go ahead and take him because we got James Conner anyway. Not only is he a handcuff, but I think he also has standalone value. So let's go ahead and take Jaylen. And it'll come back to us. And we're just going to fill out the rest of our bench with running backs. So we can pick 2 more. I'm just going to pause. We'll come back and we'll see who's still available and we'll grab another guy. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of running backs queued up right now, and Tony Pollard is still on the board. I thought he would be gone by now, but I actually just looked up his name. He's buried really deep on the list, so people need to search for him in order to find him, so that means we got a bargain there. I'm definitely going to take him just because of the whole Zeke situation, and the early season schedule for Dallas is fantastic. I mean, they start out a home game with against the Giants, then they play the Washington on the road, then they come home and they play Miami. So if Zeke misses those 3 games, Pollard's going to be an RB1. It's going to be a great situation. So we didn't get Eckler, but we did get Pollard, so I think that's great. The rest of the guys on here, you got Justin Jackson of the Chargers, so he's also going to be in the backfield with Melvin Gordon out. He would be a decent choice, but we can go for upside here. Darwin Thompson is someone who I'm real interested in, the Kansas City running back. Damian Williams, I'm not sold on, and Darwin Thompson has looked really good so far in the preseason, and this is a high-powered offense. I think he has a chance to take over this backfield once the season starts. So I like the idea of going with Darwin. Whoops, I don't need to look at that. Sorry about that. But there's lots of good choices here. Singletary in Buffalo. Certainly there's a case to be made that he should be named the starter just because he's not a million years old in that backfield. Damian Harris in New England. I love taking New England running backs after pick 100. Justice Hill, the guy supposedly has Alvin Kamara-like skill set in a very interesting offense, the Baltimore offense. So there's lots of great options here. I'm just going to go on the flyer. I'm going to take Darwin as my last running back. And then we will just go and pick our defense, pick our kicker. I'm just going to pause. We'll come right back and see who we end up with. And we are back. So let's review this team. I love this team. This actually ended up going very well for us. So quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Running backs, James Conner, Kerryon Johnson, David Montgomery. And then we got Rashad Penny, Jaylen Samuels, Tony Pollard, and Darwin Thompson. So that's an amazing running back core, actually. That's so good. I mean, Tony Pollard, he could start for us week 1. If Zeke sits out, he's a startable asset. So that's amazing. Wide receivers, Deandre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Robby Anderson, Curtis Samuel, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So again, a rock solid wide receiver core, just top notch, very, very, very strong. Tight end is Vance McDonald. I love this team. Holy cow. This is an amazingly good team. Just so solid, so deep at the right positions. I would be happy to take this team in with me to the regular season. And again, all possible due to my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft. Go to my website today. Try it out. I think you're going to find it's going to absolutely raise your game, and it's so helpful in finding the right players at each and every round of your draft. And you are just going to dominate your draft on draft day and give your team that solid foundation it needs to make that run for the championship this year. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you have any questions, of course, leave a comment, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. So thanks a lot for watching. Have yourself a good night, and happy drafting, everybody.